Whenever I need a midday pick-me-up, my favorite thing to do is grab a shot of espresso or a cup of tea. But you always need a little snack to go with it. So today we are going to be making these little lemony almond tea cakes. This cake is the perfect pairing to satisfy your afternoon sweet tooth without spoiling your dinner. It's also made with olive oil, which makes it super moist and rich. And we're going to top it all off with a lemon and white chocolate cream and little citrus meringue. So if you want to learn how to make this super easy cake, keep watching.
I'd like to love you night and day, if I may.
First things first, we are going to start this recipe off by making our little lemon almond cakes. This is super easy. First, we are going to paddle 170 grams or 3/4 cup of sugar and the zest of 3 lemons for 2 to 3 minutes on high speed. The friction from the sugar will rub against the lemon zest and help to release all of those fragrant lemony oils. Once your sugar is fragrant and moist like this, we are going to switch to a whisk attachment and add in 100 grams or 2 large eggs and whip this until it is thick and pale. Once our eggs are blanched, we are going to slowly stream in 120 grams or half a cup of olive oil. You want to stream the oil in really slowly so the eggs have a chance to expand and really embrace all of the oil. If you add it in too fast, you're going to risk splitting it. Then we can remove the bowl from the mixer and add in 240 grams or 1 cup of sour cream and whisk that to combine. And lastly, we can sift in 148 grams or 1 cup and 3 tablespoons of flour and 60 grams or half a cup of almond flour. Give this a few turns to combine everything, and then we can place this into our silicone mold. You want to fill these about 3/4 of the way high. Then I'm placing a piece of parchment paper over this and another pan over the parchment paper so that when the batter expands, it expands into the nice rectangular shape of the mold. Then we can bake these at 325 for 8 to 10 minutes. These bake really quickly, so don't go too far. You'll know that they're ready when the tops are golden brown and a toothpick comes out clean. Now let's move on to our cream. This is super simple. We are going to bring 50 grams or the juice of 2 medium lemons to a boil. Use fresh lemon juice. This is going to make all of the difference in this recipe. Once it boils, we're going to pour that over 100 grams or half a cup of high quality white chocolate and let that sit for a minute. This will allow all of the chocolate to melt and give the ganache a second to cool down. Then we're going to add in 28 grams or 2 tablespoons of butter and blend this with an immersion blender until smooth. It's really great to use an immersion blender for any ganache because the final product is really silky smooth and it blends everything without incorporating air bubbles. Then I'm going to transfer this into a container and allow it to crystallize overnight. Originally, when I was developing this recipe, I was going to keep this component as a ganache. But later on, when I was tasting the cake, I decided that I wanted this element to be a little bit more airy. So I whipped 231 grams or 1 cup of heavy whipping cream to medium peaks, and then I just gently folded in that ganache base, and it was divine. And having a little bit of a lighter element really worked much better in the final product. Now let's move on to our meringue. All you need to do is take 100 grams of egg whites and 150 grams of granulated sugar, place that into your mixing bowl and give it a little whisk to combine, and then transfer the mixing bowl over a double boiler. We're going to heat this up to 45 degrees Celsius. If you don't have a thermometer, you'll know it's done when you pinch the mixture and most of those sugar crystals have dissolved. Then we're going to put this on the stand mixer and whip it until it's light and fluffy. Once we made the meringue, we can transfer it into a piping bag with a small round tip and pipe it in straight lines or whatever design you prefer. Then I'm going to zest a lime over the meringue for a nice bright green color and pop this into the oven overnight. What we're going to do is set our oven to the lowest possible setting. In about 5 to 6 hours or the next day, our meringue should be dried out and we are all ready to assemble our cake. If you have a small St. Honoré tip, you can use that, but if you don't, just cut your piping bag at a diagonal like this. Now, piping is a skill just like any that requires a lot of practice, so fill your piping bag and get to work. All you have to do is apply even pressure and swing your piping bag side to side. Place a few meringues on there and we are ready to dig in. That is it for another recipe. Lemon, white chocolate, and meringue are truly a match made in heaven. Those flavors go really well together because the two components really help to cut through all of the acidity that's in the lemon. The cake is super moist and decadent. A lot of times when you see lemon loaf cakes such as this one, they're typically soaked in a lemon simple syrup, but this cake is so moist that I honestly don't even think it could handle any more moisture. This recipe was so fun to make, super simple, barely took any time, just like 2 days. Sounds like I'm joking, but honestly it's not that much time because usually these videos take me around 3 to 4 days to complete because there's so many components, and then filming is really challenging, like especially when you have like a camera in front of you and then you have to like go around the camera. The whole thing is a thing, okay? If you make these, all of your friends or guests will think that you are a professional. And if you want more recipes or videos or clips, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I will have everything linked in the description bar below, including the silicone mold that I used for this recipe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Crush that.
Smash the like and subscribe button and comment down below what you want me to do.